All right, I'm going to start off here reviewing some of the tenses that we've already talked about before we go on and talk about the past continuous tense. You may have noticed that we skipped a bunch of chapters. We were on chapter 3 and then we're on chapter 7, and then also on chapter 7 we skipped the first three sections of chapter 7. The reason for that is I just want to focus on getting through these different tenses and letting you guys see the comparison and the difference between them. And we will go back to some of those earlier chapters, and if we have time I'll also cover the first three sections of this chapter. But anyway, just to review quickly, we've studied four basic tenses so far. We've studied the simple present tense, the present continuous, the future tense, and the past tense. And in terms of uses, we said that the simple present tense was used for three things: habit, truth, general truth, or origin. And we'll talk about the meanings of those in a second. The present continuous, three things as well: an action in progress, meaning right now, something going on; a long-term action in progress, or a change in society. And then with the future tense, we also had three different usage. One usage is a prediction about the future, where we can use both be going to, and will. And then we have two separate ones. When we have a specific definite plan for the future, we can only use be going to. But when we're talking about a promise or volunteering or a decision that's made at that moment, we can only use will. We can't use be going to. And then with the past tense, we have two forms that we've talked about so far. We can use used to when we're talking about a past habit that's no longer true. And then we use the simple past tense for an action that started and ended in the past. So today what we're going to talk about is the past continuous tense. If you want to open up your books, I'll be starting around page 220. But the first thing, just in addition to review these tenses, here we have this simple present tense. And so the sentence says, we go to class on Mondays and Thursdays. And in this case, what we're talking about is a habit. And you can see on this calendar, this is the month of October, that we have many days highlighted. So we have October 1st, which is actually in the past, highlighted. And we have October 6th and oh, I just realized I highlighted the wrong ones. Okay, whoops, sorry about that. It should be the 5th and the 12th. I made a mistake. I have it on Tuesdays. I'm just gonna keep on going. Sorry about that, guys. But what you can see is that we have it in many different places. The simple present tense is talking about a habit, so it's not just specifically right at this moment, but it's talking about things that are always ongoing. Then here we say, I'm not going to class today, Friday, October 7th. What I'm using here is the present continuous tense. Now, my assumption is that when you're listening to this, it's not Friday, October 2nd. And it's actually, I'm not doing this on Friday, October 2nd, but I didn't put Saturday on this calendar. But basically what we're saying with the present continuous is it's an action that I'm doing right now, today, at this moment. Here with the future tense, I'm going to go to class on Thursday, October 8th. We're talking about a plan for the future, or a prediction for the future. Okay, but again, you can see on the calendar that that's sometime in the future. And then here is the simple past tense. I went to class on Thursday, October 1st. So this is something that's already happened, that started and ended in the past and is no longer going on. Okay. Remember that with the simple past tense, it doesn't mean that it's no longer true. That's only true when we're using used to. But it means that that actual event is over and is no longer going on. So then let's talk about the past continuous. Now we're going to look at three different ways of using it, but the basic meaning of the past continuous is we're talking about an action that was in progress at some time in the past, and we're specifying the time that happened. So in this example, and this is on page 221, we say Terrence was working in a hospital in 1993. So the specific time that we're talking about is 1993. And we're assuming here that he began sometime, maybe in the beginning of 1993, and continued to work there the whole year. Okay, whether he stopped working there after 1993 or not, we don't really know, but we just know that this was something that was in progress at the time. So if we look at this on a calendar, here's a way we can think of it. I was going to class in September. Okay, so you can see that there's several days highlighted. So this is something that was in progress. So in the month of September, I was going to class. So again, it could continue, and it is continuing on into the present, but we're just talking about some event that was in progress, so over time in the past. All right, so this is the homework assignment that you need to do, and this is on page 221. And what you want to do is you want to tell if the following things were happening in January 2008. And let me show you how I answered these ones. So the first one is work. So I was working at Centerville High School in January 2008. I wasn't going to school. I wasn't studying English. I was living in the United States. And I wasn't living with my parents. And I wasn't taking a vacation. Okay, so you want to write down questions for you. Sorry, not questions, sentences that were true about you. So think back to January 2008, what you were doing at that time. Okay, so moving on to the next one here, this is page 229. So again, the past continuous means something that was in progress in the past at a specific time. So in the last case, we gave a month or a year. But in this case, the specific time is a when clause. So we have here, Terrence was working in a hospital when he heard the news. So the was working in the hospital, that's the longer of the two actions, okay? And this specific period of time that was happening was when he heard the news. So he was working in the hospital, that's a long-term thing, and then boom, he heard the news. That's the specific time. So we don't know exactly the date, we don't know the month, we don't know the year, but we have with this when clause the specific time. The important thing for you guys to remember in this case is that in the when clause, you have to use the simple past tense. Okay? So Terrence was working in a hospital. That's the continuous tense. When he heard the news, that's the simple past tense. So let's look at some examples here. So here we say she was taking a shower when the telephone rang. So the long-term action was taking a shower when the telephone rang, short-term action. When it started to rain, short-term action. I was walking to school. Mary was shopping in the department store, long-term action. When she lost her purse, short-term action. I was doing my homework, long-term action. When my friend came, short-term action. When he arrived at the airport, short-term action. His friends were waiting for him. So again, the important thing here is that when you have the when clause, we need to use the simple past tense. With the other clause, we're going to use the continuous tense. All right, and then the other usage that we're going to talk about today is with the while clause. Now, the while and the when clause are different. While is used for a long-term action. When is used for the short-term action. So while Einstein was living in Switzerland, that's the long-term action. So after while, we're using the continuous tense because that's the longer action. So in the next one, Einstein was living, I forgot to write the rest of it. Einstein was living in Switzerland when he died. So the short-term action is when he died. The long-term action was he was living in Switzerland. So again, so here's some more. These are some more activities, and these are the same ones that are on page 225, exercise 11. So if you want to go ahead and answer those ones first, and then do this. Then check your answers, you can. We will go over these activities in class. We're going to be doing them in class. But let me just go ahead and go through the answers for these first right now. So it started to rain while I was walking to the school. It started to rain, short-term action, while I was walking to school, long-term action. While the teacher was writing, long-term action. She dropped the chalk, short-term action. He broke his arm, short-term action, while he was climbing a tree, long-term action. She met her husband, short-term action, while she was attending college, long-term action. While I was driving to work, long-term action. I ran out of gas, short-term action. While I was riding my bike, long-term action. I got a flat tire. Okay? So again, we'll do more practice with these ones, and we'll talk about them a little bit more in class. If there's anything that you don't understand, bring those questions with you to class and we can answer them then. Okay? Great. We'll see you then. Bye.